Hi, and a great big warm welcome to the Ask Zofie podcast, season 2, episode 27. If I looked extra daft then, it's because one, I'm recording this at, what time is it? 6:45, which is very late in the day for me recording one of these episodes, and it's been a busy time. So as my ex-mother-in-law used to say, my head's in the shed, but also the sort of quality of the video looked a little bit, as my kids would say, glitchy. So that's why I was looking a bit funny. If you noticed I was looking a bit funny. If you didn't notice or you're just listening, then we'll just ignore that. Okay, I have had my lovely friend here, Zofie, decorating all day the bedroom. She has not yet got to the hallway. So my solution is to shut the door and hide it with my hair. So if you go like this, well, you can't really see it now because it's dark, but the ceiling behind me is still not a vibe. It's still not having a moment. But yeah, every problem has a solution, and my solution is to close the door and hide it with my big swoopy hair. Yes, I can't remember why I was saying that. Oh yeah, I've had Zofie here. I've had the hilarious Polish electrician and his son, Wojciech and Titus, who definitely, well, I say definitely, I'd imagine don't listen to my podcast, but let's shout out to them both just in case. Because you never know. I wasn't really planning on doing a podcast today. But it's like, do you know what? I really want to do it. So even though it's late in the day, I'm still not feeling 100%, and there's loads going on, I'm sitting down to record this for you because I have love in my heart for you and passion for this thing that I call a job. Not that I can call podcasting a job because it doesn't pay me. So I guess a job to be from that side of it. Anyway, I'm already babbling. So I actually, my intention is that this episode will be pretty short and snappy, but we'll see how that goes. Oh, do you like, but by the way, if you're watching this, my new scrunchie, I almost never wear them in my hair, but this is a Ganni one that I love. How pretty is that? I think it was like 20 quid from Selfridges, and I just love the colours. I'm going away on holiday soon, and this is to match my cream bikini. Not that you need to know that, but it's too late because you do now. All right, so yeah, something happened yesterday which has prompted what I'm going to talk about today, actually, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But firstly, yeah, let's do my pick from Love Notes before I get into my behind the scenes and then get into the point for today. And by the way, if you have left me a rating or a review on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever, thank you so much. If you haven't yet and you enjoy my podcast, I would really, really appreciate it. It just is so helpful. So if you have a minute, even if it's just a rating, preferably a high one, your fibers in the post. Or I'll backsit you or whatever. What's that thing they say in America? No, I want to say Venmo. Is that a thing? But that thing, anyway. I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to go to Love Notes. I actually, do you know what? I haven't picked as many pages for myself from here recently, and I really want to. I keep feeling like come back to it. So this is my like note to myself to spend a bit more time in the energy of Love Notes, which is interesting because that makes so much sense in terms of what is helpful for me right now. So let's see what comes up for me and for you. Okay, this is one of my favorites actually. It's page 81, and here goes. And when you know that your yearning for me is my yearning for you, that the tears you cry are mine too, you will know my love for you. Come home to me now. I actually now want to do a shout out to my friend Brooke because we, I think, talked about this sentiment, I feel like at some point. And she's an energy worker, energy healer. I don't know exactly what Brooke would call herself, but she definitely feels the energy. And she felt this when I talked about this with her. The thing that came through to me where I was saying to God, to the divine, where are you? I need you, and so on. And I felt this reply come back, well, where are you? I need you. And it was the most humbling thing. And this speaks to that the any sense of separation or yearning or whatever that we feel is really that same sense of separation that the divine is feeling for us, for you. And I think for me, whenever you flip that on its head, it is, like I say, such a humbling experience. It's just possibly the reframe to end all reframes of, instead of thinking about what you're missing and poor you, is actually the divine and what the divine does for you, and the fact that the divine desires you. Just such a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. Okay, behind the scenes, yeah. So I've shared this. I forget what I share with whom and where, but I've shared this with, my friends and so on, and also on Instagram, and maybe even in my weekly email that I send out to those in my membership, that the last 3 weeks have been challenging. Basically, my daughter's been ill for nearly 3 weeks, and then I've had the same thing to a lesser or greater degree at times for almost as long. And then, so she was off school for nearly a week before Easter. Then the kids were off for 2 weeks over Easter. Because I'm a single parent and I don't have lots of like family support around and stuff, when the kids are off anyway, that's challenging. And at the moment, that is compounded by the fact that I'm doing work on the apartment, and I'm doing work and so on and so forth, and I've been ill. And that's also coupled with the fact that my son Vincent, and both of my children, if you don't know, spend half of their time with their dad, and half the time with me. And he had some upset when he wasn't with me, and he's 11. He's navigating a time of life where there's a lot of change and so on and so forth, and hormonal changes and this, that, and the other. And he'd had an upset when he was there, and when he came back, it was just a challenging time with him. And anyway, my point is this, is that there's lots of different things going on in my like physical world, in my physical reality, that we could call stressful, that we could call draining, emotional, all this different stuff. But the thing I want to say is that when you have faith, when you understand that the entire universe, your life itself, has benevolence at its core and is born of this benevolence, everything hits different. Like, I find this a lot. If ever I'm having challenges and I say to people like, "Oh, are you okay?" I'm like, "Look, I am fine." Like, I might be a bit sad about this thing, or this thing might be upsetting me, or it might be a bit emotionally draining, but I invariably feel all this, while at the same time have this sense of being held by what I think of as God, by divinity, by the divine. And so it really does take the edge off and then some. And yeah, I just wanted to say that, and also to say that you might know that I am writing a book called Living in Faith. And one of the things I say in this book is that I, like, people will say to me, where do you get this faith from? When did it sort of land with you? And I can't say exactly when it was, and I say this in the book, but I know that there was a tipping point at some moment in time, because I remember, so I'm doing my thing when I'm checking that I'm recording. I remember that I need a person to just do that for me, don't I? A recording checker in a sorry, I remember that there was a time, and a great period of time, where I was like, oh, I get this stuff as a sort of, as an idea. It's a cerebral, what's the word? Oh, I can't think. I've got this understanding, but I don't feel it, like in my bones, in my heart, this faith. And at some point it went from this construct to this knowing, to this is just woven into and through the fabric of my being. And that was because I just kept going step after step after step after step, and I reached a tipping point. This will be the same for you, wherever you are on your journey. If you're like, I really want to have this faith, but I just don't, please keep going, because you're no different to me. And like law of oneness states that we are all connected. We all come from the same source. And therefore, what's possible for me is possible for you. This is my whole thing, is to be an example of what is possible. And, I've said this before, I say this heaps. I did not have the most joyful start in life, but I am a very joyful person now. I did not have the calmest beginnings, but I am very calm and settled and centered and grounded now. And I really want to be an example for you. Anyway, I've gone on way too long about that. Point being that you can be in this world, but also tethered to something that is deeper than and fuller than and truer than this world, and that is steeped in this eternal, I want eternalness, this eternal nature that just soothes and comforts you deeply. All right, enough about that. So I want to tell you a manifesting story. And it's a story of something that's in, I'm feeling like I'm going to say, when at the start of Zoom, not Skype, I want to say Skype then, when you start recording and the woman says recording in progress. But this is a story in progress, okay? So here's the deal. I most days journal to help me with my manifesting. And by the way, I'm working on something, I'm just going to tell you what it is. A journal to help you do exactly this. I have a proof copy next to me. I'm not going to show it to you because the color's not quite right, but I'm so excited to get that out. Anyway, yeah, most days I journal to help me manifest. And so I start out by writing, what do I want? Get clear on that. And this helps to focus the energy. Then I write out all the limiting beliefs that tell me I can't have this thing that I want, right? Because we will always have them. And then I talk myself round to more helpful beliefs. And then the work, and it's always the same, to manifest anything is to keep affirming the new beliefs and work on the unhelpful beliefs that as and when they come up, and they will continue to do this. And then at the same time, feel the feels of already having the thing that you want. And this works every single time without exception. You know, the only sort of caveat is that you always get what you want, or something even better, or something even better. This or something better is an awesome affirmation to use when you're manifesting. But anyway, one of the things that I was writing out that I want is sort of greater impact with my work, success, kind of like global impact and success, and so on and so forth. And then I'm writing out like all of the limiting beliefs pertaining to this, or that are going to stand in my way of achieving this. And one of them, and I could have got this out, but I didn't. But anyway, one of them was along the lines of, people are gonna, you know, like say mean things to me, misunderstand me, judge me, all that stuff. And that was definitely a fear that I had / have, but I don't think so anymore, and you'll see why in a minute, but of growing. And of course you can see, if you have this I want this but energy, what happens is you block yourself. Like I've talked about before, you've got one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake, or one foot on the accelerator and one hand on the handbrake. You're not getting very far. So what we want is this clear, pure energy, which is incredibly magnetic and powerful, of this is what I want, and this is why I want it, this is what I desire, and these are the reasons why. So you're not, it is pure and abated energy that, like I say, is magnetic and powerful. And so, yeah, me thinking I want to be successful in my field, but I'm afraid that if I do, I'll be judged. That is like asking for it, but also blocking it at the same time. Not what we want to do. This is the point of bringing up those unhelpful beliefs. So anyway, I wrote out some stuff on this. Oh, and actually, let me see if I can find this, because this is a really powerful reframe that will be helpful. So I want to share it. Sorry, I've got loads of stuff written in my, that's a different one. Oh, yeah, okay, brill. Let me see if I can read this out. Doubts re success. People will be mean to me. I'll get trolls and hate and be misunderstood. The wheels will come off, all my cracks will show up. Oh, my products aren't good enough, I don't know enough, I'll have to show up even when I'm tired, feel ugly, etc. Oh, I don't have the stamina, I'm not cut out for it, I won't be able to keep up, I'll mess it up, I'm not ready. Now, this is the kind of crap, the kind of BS that the mind comes up with, right? I don't know if you've watched the Lewis Capaldi documentary, but I've watched, in fact, I haven't got to the end, but most of it, and was really fascinated, because he, like me, and you might relate to this, is someone who has a very vehement, mean inner critic. And it's fascinating to see someone like him, who is clearly so talented, but this voice in his head tells him to the contrary. Now, this crap that my inner critic has come up with is bonkers, right? And we all have this. I talk about this loads. I want to out it and get you to see that those crazy ass thoughts that you have don't make you crazy. They just make you a normal human. What makes you crazy is when you're informed by them, when you listen to them. So yeah, that's like the like no holds barred. That's everything I've written in my journal pertaining to this, right? Okay, so this is one of the things you can do, which I can't remember if I talked about before, but write out everything that your fear wants you to know, and then everything that your divinity has to say. This is one way of shifting those beliefs. So then I've written out from the perspective of my divinity. I'm reframing it. I'm flipping the script, okay? And it says, oh, my love, Zofie, you are so underlined ready. You were born ready for this, made by God for it. Can you feel the difference already? Your heart for this is so pure. People will feel this. Your character isn't divisive or inflammatory. You are steeped in insight and love. What's loving attracts love. You will feel so much love mirrored back to you. Can you feel how different this is versus what my fear, versus what my unhelpful beliefs were saying? All of your love will be amplified. So instead of what did I say about my cracks will show up, my love will be amplified. Can you feel the stark contrast and the difference, of course, between what fear is saying and what love is saying? Everything you give mirrored and returned back to you. You will have less work to do. And of course, this makes sense. Right now, I'm pretty much doing it all when it comes to my business. You know, when I make a meditation, I write that thing, I record it, I edit it, I do all the back end stuff with my website and so on and so forth. I just now have a little bit of help from someone who is going to help me with YouTube and stuff like that, but very little thus far. So it says you will have less work to do and more support as you grow. It will get easier. It will be blissful. Notoriety and money are amplifiers. Your love will be amplified by money, success, fame. Success and money amplify my love. So again, you can obviously quite clearly, quite patiently perceive the difference between what fear is saying and those limiting beliefs, like you won't have the stamina, you'll be misunderstood, and all of that BS. And actually, yes, anything like more money, more success, notoriety, those things are amplifiers. But what is in my heart? So much love. What do I put out? What do I give? There's, I would say, rarely a day goes by that I don't, in some way, shape, or form, and probably every day because of this content I put out for free, do something positive. And of course, that's going to be mirrored back to me. So, anyway, that was my process. Okay, let me go back to my notes here. And the point being, I've just seen this is how my life goes, right? On here, I've got my list of paints to buy today. I'll do it all the time. I'll have like this, like deep, meaningful stuff written on the back. It will be my shopping list. That's just how I roll. Anyway, the point is, I was and am focused on manifesting growth in my business and removing the blocks to that success. And so, yeah, what was the fear? Being misunderstood, someone or someone's being mean to me, and so on. Anyway, yesterday I posted a reel. I thought it was a really awesome reel. I gave a manifesting tip in it. Go check it out on my Instagram if you want. It's from Sunday the 16th of April, and I talk in it about how helpful it is to do what's required. Okay, anyway, I still stand by it. I think it's a great tip, and I watched it again after what happened, and I was like, I can feel the love in that and the kindness. Anyway, somebody called Adam something or other on Facebook wrote, "What a load of dribble." It isn't dribble, by the way, Adam, it's drivel. But anyway, that's by the by. And then one of those like face plant emojis, but a male one like this. Actually, I think he did it with blonde hair and he had dark hair. But anyway, just in case you're watching or listening, Adam. I joke, like, more power to you, Adam. Anyway, he wrote, "What a load of dribble." And I actually posted this on my Instagram story because I was like, for a second, I thought, am I actually dribbling? Because sometimes I do that when I fall asleep. And if I'm gonna dribble, I normally do a lot of it. I've like woken up before with like all my hair like plastered to the side of my face. It's not a good look. But I checked and there wasn't any dribble that I that I could see. So I assumed he meant dribble. Anyway, this was the coolest thing. Okay. It's no coincidence that I've been thinking about this and then that's what's happened. It's probably only been 3 times in the like, whatever it is, 16, 17, 18 years that I've been doing stuff online that someone has written something like that. It's no coincidence that just after I've been working on this, Adam Watts's Chops from Cardiff wrote that I was espousing a load of dribble. Which we assume means dribble. Anyway, the awesome thing about this was, guess what? I didn't care less. I, more than anything, found it really funny and was really thankful for this opportunity to experience someone saying something unkind. And it was just like water off a duck's back. So there's so many things I want to say about this. One is that that was the universe conspiring to bring me this experience to see that thing that you're afraid of. A is BS, and B, you don't need to be afraid of it. The other thing I want to say is that we, like Eckhart Tolle, I remember said this, and I think it was The Power of Now, and it helped me massively. When my daughter was born, she was born 2 months early, 2 months premature, and I thought she might die. Like, I know with hindsight that wasn't going to happen, but at the time I didn't know that. That's what I felt and thought. And as I was in the hospital room by myself, post emergency C-section, loads of hormones and fear and all sorts going on in my body, I kept thinking to myself what Eckhart had said in The Power of Now, which is when you're worrying about something potentially happening, like right now, it's really debilitating because you can't do anything about it. It's like if there's a monster in front of you, you can fight that monster, kick it in the nuts or whatever you're going to do, stab it in the eye. I don't know what you do with a monster, or run. But if it's a pretend monster in your head, you can't do anything about it. And so the pretend monster in my head was someone saying something unkind on my Instagram or whatever, like woo, scary. When it actually happens, like when anything actually happens, you have the opportunity to actually deal with it. You can't deal with something in your imagination. So that's another thing. Okay. One is that the universe is always conspiring in our favor. This is an example of that. Two is it's incredibly debilitating to try and contend with an imaginary fear in your head. So please know this. And there was another thing as well. Yeah, the other thing is, so when this happened to me once years ago, basically one of my clients, her brother decided to kindly, I'm doing air quotes if you can't see me, comment on my post. Why would you take any notice of someone who every other word of hers is And when I first saw that, it felt like someone slapped me across the face, right? Because it was someone just very clearly and overtly saying something that was unkind about me. And it's like, whoa, again, I'm just out here trying to fight the good fight, mister. And it upset me, and like understandably. And then I gathered myself and I watched the video and I was like, whoa, do you know what? He might be an a-hole, but he is right. I say a lot. Okay, how am I going to show up and deal with this? And so, yeah, two things. One is, and I say this all the time because it's incredibly powerful, your power is in your response. Your power is in your response. Like the hater guy, I could have put a big reply, why are you so mean, Mr. La 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 la. I'm showing myself up to be, as who I am. What I chose to do was take his kind of insult and use it to my advantage in a positive way, and focus on ironing out my ums. So he did something crappy and I transmuted it, I alchemized it, I turned it into a positive. I sometimes do this if someone's like rude in traffic. I think, well, I'm going to be extra nice today, I'm going to go all extra because I'm going to take that unwanted, I'm going to turn it into a wanted, I'm going to take that negative and turn it into a positive, I'm going to turn that crappy behavior and take it and turn it into some kind behavior. And so how we respond is everything, and also the meaning that we attach to things. Now, the meaning that I attached to the dude that said that I was spouting a load of dribble was the universe loves me, it's guiding me, it's supporting me, it's bringing this stuff up to show me there's nothing to be afraid of. And also, he can't touch me. And the really cool thing was, in a very loving way, I deleted his comment and I blocked him. And this wasn't in a like, I'm going to delete you, Adam, what's your chops from Cardiff. This was just, this is my page. This is a place for like love and kindness and positive intent and uplifting other people, praising people, not trying to bring someone down who is just doing their best in this world and on this planet. And so I was like protecting myself and that energy, and that felt like a really loving thing to do for myself, which was beautiful. So the meaning that we give things, somebody might be rude to you on the street or whatever, and you can decide, oh, people are just horrible nowadays, no one cares about anyone. That's the story you're telling. You're globalizing that one experience. That's the meaning you are attaching to it. We get to decide this, and that is where our power is: how we respond, the stories we tell, the meanings that we attach to circumstances and events and situations. Nobody gets to decide that other than you. And so I can kind of like receive his insult and fire something back that is of a very different energy than that is light-hearted, that is loving. And do you know what? Ultimately, while I don't want to be energetically attached to this person or anyone like that, and I don't feel it, I have compassion for a person who is doing something like that. Because, of course, if he's done it once, he's done it many times, most likely. And anyone who is spending time writing, thinking unkind things, obviously they're not happy. They're not tethered to and attached to their divinity. And the other thing I want to say is that Don Miguel Ruiz said, don't take anything personally. And I absolutely freaking adore this. Don't take anything personally. The truth is that most likely what I was saying about doing what's required triggered something in him, which is why he felt compelled to respond. And so it's understanding that we can't be responsible for that. We're responsible for our intentions and so on and so forth. Like I say to my kids all the time, how people treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours. So I choose to have compassion for this person. It doesn't mean that I let people be unkind to me, that I don't have boundaries, but I'm not going to spew more hate and venom and so on and so forth, because that's just like trying to put out a fire with more flames. Obviously it doesn't work. Okay, so was there anything else I wanted to say? So I've got like a hair stuck on my lip. I don't know where that's I can't blame it on Susie anymore. It used to often be Susie, but can't blame it on my dear sweet Susie, because obviously she's not around. Maybe she's around me in spirit, and that's why I'm getting the getting that happening. But I really hope that helps. What was I going to say? The other thing actually that I want to say is that I had an interaction with, I'm going to say it, yeah, a neighbor recently who just wasn't the most polite, and he wasn't the kindest. Maybe he's mates with Adam, let's just say that. It's easy when we have an unpleasant thing like that happen for that to take over any of the pleasant things, because our brains have a negativity bias, right? So if someone's rude to you, that stands out more than someone being kind. You have an extra bill to pay, that stands out more than the fact that you got a rebate, and so on and so forth. Now, I met on that same day, yeah, it was on that same day, another neighbor who was really sweet. And then today I met another neighbor, because there's 14 apartments in my block in total, so obviously quite a few. I mean, yeah, say there's 2 in every apartment, there's quite a lot of people, right, that all live in the same block. But yeah, I had one interaction that just the person wasn't super friendly and kind ultimately, but then the same day one in interaction where they were, and also again today. Now it's really helpful to focus, to savor, to really milk those positive experiences, because there is an imbalance in one's brain, right? And it doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you human and normal. But it's not helpful to proceed and not do any work on this imbalance. So I'm going to really savor the fact that that lady the other day was really sweet, and her son was really cute. I asked what his name was, and he got all shy, and then his mum told me, and then as I left, he was like, bye. Really sweet. And then the lady today was just really warm and friendly. So my point being, just savor milk, really maximize those experiences where a stranger smiles at you, or yeah, I don't know, you're at the checkout and the person's really friendly, or someone lets you go in traffic, because otherwise you have this skewed perspective on how the world is, not helpful, and also not even true. All right, so that's it from me today. I'm away next week, but I'm going to see if I can sneak in a cheeky podcast before I go so that you don't miss a week, because that will be obviously really, really sad for you. If you have a question or questions for me, then please be in touch, because I will answer on this podcast. In the meantime, thank you so much for either watching or listening. As I've said, if you're happy to leave me a rating or a review, or just a like if this is on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube rather, I would really appreciate that. I wish you an awesome rest of your day, and fingers crossed, we'll be back next week. In the meantime, sending you heaps of love.